Pre-algebra lesson 22, multiple fractional factors. So we're talking about more than two fractions being multiplied, and we're also going to use some very large numbers. Now, if we try to solve this problem right here, we have 56 times 14. That is a huge number. It's going to take me a little while to multiply that. And if we just estimate it, that would 56 round to 60, 60 times 10, that's somewhere around 600. It's going to be a large 3-digit number. Then I have to multiply that by 15, and then if we estimate it again, the answer is going to be somewhere around 1200. And then the bottom number is going to be equally as large, and then it's so hard to reduce large numbers. So what we're going to do to save all of this multiplication and drawing out all those multiplication tables and then figuring out those 3-digit multipliers and those 2-digit multipliers, etc., is we're going to cross cancel or cancel our fractions before we multiply them. Now, we'll go to an example on the paper. This is going to be an exercise in care and neatness. If you are one of my sloppy writers, now is the time to clean it up, because if you do not write neat, you are going to make mistakes on these problems. It's not a good thing, and it makes it very, very difficult to solve, and it's frustrating because then you can't figure out where your numbers are. So we have to try to be as neat as possible. We also need to try to be as clear as possible and not blurry at all, like my camera is doing. Woo, it's having a hard time. There we go. So let's start by canceling. So the way we could cross cancel is, if you remember, when we're cross canceling or we're canceling fractions, I can reduce top and bottom or diagonally as long as the numbers match. Now, the first thing that you should look for is the same number. So there's no matching numbers top and bottom, but we do have some matching 14s, and they are diagonal. And what I mean diagonally is it goes from top to bottom, and that's how we would cross cancel. I cannot cancel like this. That would be bad. But I can cancel the 14s. So what I'll do is I will cancel 114 for 114 because they both go into 14 one time. The other thing I notice is I can cancel 15 and 30. I know that 15 is divisible by 5, but more importantly, 15 goes into 32 times, so I can cancel 15 into 1 and 30 into 2. Now, that also allows me to cancel the 12 and 2, because 2 goes into 12. So 2 goes into 12 6 times, 2 goes into 2 1 time. All right? Now, if I've written this neatly, some of you may be tempted to try and multiply right now. I'm going to tell you that's not the smartest idea. What I would do is, and what I'm going to teach you to do, is to rewrite the whole problem again. Some of you are thinking, I don't want to rewrite the whole problem again. Well, I don't want you to get the answer wrong. So we're going to rewrite the whole problem again. So the first number is now 6 over 105. The second number is now 1 over 1. The third number is now 1 over 1. And then I can multiply to get my answer. 6 times 1 times 1 is 6. 105 times 1 times 1 is 105. Now I have to check and see if this can be reduced. Well, I know by divisibility rules that 1 plus 0 plus 5 is equal to 6, so 105 is divisible by 3, and I know that 6 is divisible by 3, so this can be reduced. I know 6, if you go 3 into 6, you get 2. Now let's see what happens if I take 3 into 105. 3 goes into 10 3 times, I get 9, carry the 1, and 3 goes into 15 5 times, so I get 35. I can no longer reduce, and my final answer is 2 over 35. Some of you may be thinking, oh, Mr. Claiborne, I don't get why we didn't just multiply. It's all ones. Well, you'd be surprised. Now, the one thing you may have noticed is that I didn't realize that 6 could divide into 105, but if I realized it back here, I could have reduced all the way here or here. And then you also could have used a different path for reducing. So, for example, you could have reduced 12 and 30, since they're both divisible by 2. You could have had 6 and 15 there, and then 15 and 15. There's a lot of different ways that this could have played out. Make sure you write it as neatly as possible, and then when you're done canceling, rewrite the problem entirely to make sure that you've got it right, and then multiply. Now let's go on to the next example. The next example is a bit tricky because of this little symbol right here. We have 10/35 times 14 over 28 divided by 12 over 45. That divided by means I need to take this divisor, 12 over 45, and turn it into a reciprocal. So before I even start canceling, I have to rewrite this problem. So let's rewrite it. 10 over 35 will be the same. 14 over 28 will not change. The reciprocal of 12 over 45, or the inverse, is 45 over 12. All right, now that I've rewritten everything and I'm ready to multiply, I can start cross-canceling. Now the first thing I notice right now is that 14 and 28, they go into each other evenly. In fact, 14 goes into 28 exactly 2 times. Oops, got to resituate my camera here. So I can cancel that 14. It'll go once. 28 will become 2. And then here, I can see all the way across 35 and the 45. That is also allowed. That is okay. I know that they're both divisible by 5. 5 goes into 35 7 times. 5 goes into 45 9 times. All right, we're looking pretty good. Next I can see that 9 and 12 will reduce, both divisible by 3. 3 goes into 12 4 times. 3 goes into 9 3 times. And one more thing that I see, 2 and 10. Alright, so 2 goes into 2 1 time, 2 goes into 10 5 times. That's all I've got, I think, as far as canceling. So I'm going to go ahead and rewrite my whole equation. It's going to be 5/7 times 1 over 1 times 3 over 4. Now let's go ahead and multiply. 5 times 1 is 5, times 3 is 15, and 7 times 1 is 7, times 4 is 28. Okay, so now I've got 15 over 28. Are either one of these divisible by each other? No, they're not. So my final answer is 15/28. And what you'll notice there is if you can cross-cancel good enough, you will never have to reduce your final answer because you will have done all the reducing before you multiplied. I hope you'll find the solution much easier to multiplying 10 times 14 times 45, and that you'll write neatly and rewrite your problem once you're done canceling. If you have any questions, let me know on the school website, and I'll see you in class.